one with some inspiration and some practical resources and education around how to lend a helping hand. Eddie's theme for the year, which is so appropriate this year. So thank you, Kent Greer, Jack Allspaw, for reminding us of the great work that Rotarians are doing around the world and in our district. Thanks for reminding us that the most effective Rotarians are those who find a heart connection with Rotary and their work in Rotary. Well done. Thank
Dana,
you.
can I say something real quickly here?
From Southside Corpus Christi for bringing us Mr. Aziz Maimon, who's a Rotary Foundation trustee and a Pakistani Rotarian leading the efforts for Polio Plus in Pakistan. I don't know about you guys, but the enormous scope of what we're trying to accomplish in eradicating polio in areas like Pakistan, where you can't just drive down the street to your pediatrician and get immunized. It's enormous, and thank you for the reminder that the dollars we give here are helping do good in that effort. And thank you for the reminder of the polio virtual walk that we're doing. I know there's more information, more reminders that'll be coming out on that. And so we're going to move forward.
Hey, Dana.
Speakers. Yes,
Dana, you want to say something?
Yeah, Dana, real quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Lieutenant Governor Jack. We started this community service team, as you would, and I just want to give a shout out to him. We're working on one of the idea this year was to come up with impactful projects so that we can maintain and maintain our membership and retain our membership. And so we feel like these impactful projects are going to be the key to doing that. And so Jack is coming up with ideas for your clubs to do these impactful projects. So if anybody has any desire to find out more about what type of projects are available, he's coming up with these ideas and posting them on the website. So this is something new that we've started this year, and hopefully that'll help your club. So please, I encourage you to take advantage of Jack and his team, because that truly will give you some ideas on these type of projects that you can be doing as a club. So I'll turn it back over to Dana.
Thank you, Eddie, for the reminder, and thank you, Jack, for the work you're doing for our clubs. So our next speakers, I'm going to let them do their own introductions, but we have Juan Lira and Joseph Dickerson from the Laredo area, both very effective Rotarians, and we're going to talk some more about projects and how to lend a helping hand. So Juan, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dana, very much. I want to start sharing my screen. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Okay, here we go. There you go. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Mike and I are going to share some information this morning about concrete and specific projects that clubs might want to do. And you'll notice that it starts out with $500. These are small projects, but they can get up to the size of global grants. And what we want to do is talk about some sample projects that people can do. They're important to get done, and then also suggest ways of thinking about how these projects might actually come to fruition. So to help us start off, we wanted to review just quickly here a spin-off of what Kent and Jack were saying earlier, and basically just a quick review of what Rotary's vision is for the future. You notice that we see a world where people unite. We come together and we take action in order to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and obviously in ourselves, because we know that when we help people change for the better, we experience that change ourselves. And as Rotarians, we are problem solvers. We help to inspire and activate each other. We strive to understand each other's needs. That's really key. And then the other one is, when we meet an obstacle, we tend to be very, very inventive, entrepreneurial, and resilient. And those are key things to remember as we go forth, especially when we're talking about projects that are aimed to address a need. So to help us start off, I wanted to place us in a situation. Just imagine this, and you don't have to imagine very hard because you have a photo there, but imagine this for a while. We go to we're actually talking to the director of a shelter. where people go and sleep, the homeless shelter. This could be anywhere in the world. And here's what we observe. There's a shelter there with, it accommodates 50 people. They eat and sleep there. They have 20 double bunk beds where people sleep. However, they need double bunk beds for 10 people or 5 of those double bunk beds. There's space to put them in. And then the director also tells us that these 50 people are actively seeking employment. His request is help us with the double bunk beds. Okay, here's some questions to think about. As imagine that you were walking through a facility, how would you feel walking around the facility? How do you think the people who live there feel? Who is it that we need to serve? That's key when we start talking about a project. We got to know who we're trying to help. Why do we want to help these people? And Ken mentioned earlier the Rotary's values. They're right there. Fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership all apply. Because when we work together in an honest and cooperative fashion, no matter who we are, who we're trying to serve, we come from diverse groups of people. If we're committed to serve it, then we will assume the leadership needed in order to get something done. Those are key things to remember. What is it that we need? What need needs to be addressed here? Well, we already know that. What evidence is there of that? Well, we saw it. This is key, especially if you're writing a district grant or a global grant. One of the things you got to do is prove that there's a need there. You can do it through direct observation. We're going to talk about other tools that you can use, but that's one of them. And then the other thing is, if we address the need, how is it that the lives of these individuals that we're trying to serve, how could their lives change? Short term and long term. Remember, there's these people looking for work. But if they're too tired or they don't sleep, well, they may not be very good workers because they're falling asleep, or maybe they'll get sick. And then the other thing, there may be other questions you want to ask. The bottom line here is we wanted to show that with these very simple questions, these questions could serve as a guide to help us start thinking about a project that we actually want to undertake. So let's talk about that a little bit more and ask ourselves, all right, given the scenario that we just witnessed, is this a scenario that could possibly be addressed through a district grant, an international district grant, a global grant, or just simply a fundraising project that a club might want to undertake? If it's a district or an international grant, there are a few things to keep in mind here. This is not going to be a very detailed explanation of either a district grant or global grants. We're going to reserve that for the training that we actually have coming up in the spring. But just to get us thinking about what might be possible. Remember that a district grant or an international district grant is a small grant that is very focused, and it's intended to be completed in 1 year. There's a one-to-one match between the funds that the club provides and what the district can provide. There's a minimum budget of $2,000, and the maximum that the district can provide is $4,000. Now that's different, and here's some examples of some of those small grants that we've already funded. These are funds that we've already done. For example, we have the McAllen Rotary Club's back-to-school backpack with supplies, and we provided them with $4,000. The McAllen Evening Rotary Club has a grant to improve the Girl Scouts of Greater South Texas Camp Bayview for $8,250. The district contributed $4,000. And then the International District Grant is one that Laredo Rotary undertook by getting instructional materials for active learning in a middle school in Nuevo Laredo. You'll notice at the bottom of the page here, there's a link. There's a link on our website that has the name and description of all the district grants that we've been able to find described there. So if you want more ideas on what a district grant could look like, it's right there. Okay. If you think about a global grant, these are much larger in scope. They're intended to be international and to respond to a real community need that has been identified through one or more community assessment tools. These are the tools that we're supposed to use if we're going to do a global grant. We can do a community meeting, bring everybody together, do a survey or a questionnaire, have a focus group that deals with a particular need that we want to find out more about. Could also do an asset inventory based on our observation to find out what are the strengths and the needs of a particular geographical area or a community. We could also do individual interviews. And normally these are very good once you know in general what you're trying to address. You bring in people who know about the issue and you talk to them, get a little bit more in-depth understanding of the problem. Or you can do community mapping and graphically display where the needs exist, where the strengths are, and that way you'll be able to see how you can accommodate the resources that you're going to use. One of the things that global grants must do is address one of the areas of focus. And I think we've seen this before, dealing with peace building and conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water, sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, education and literacy, community economic development, and the new one that has just come on board is supporting the environment. We found out that information about this one should be available, I think, in November. And so the global grants for this particular area will be, my understanding that the people will be able to apply for those beginning in July. So that's them. And here is an example, some more information about global grant. The minimum budget here is $30,000 and the maximum is $400,000. Gotta have 2 clubs, one in the host country where the project is going to take place, and then an international partner. And here's what you need. You need the district designated funds that come to the district by our contributions to the annual fund. That's why it's really important to contribute to the annual fund because we get money back. There may be cash contributions that clubs can make, or directed gifts, or endowment earnings. The international partner is asked to contribute 15% of the project budget. The World Fund will match 100% of the district designated funds that are allocated for a project like this. And however, the World Fund will not match cash contributions. This is something that they are not able to continue doing, although they were doing it before. Here's an example, just one example of a global grant. And you see it there, Art talked a little bit about it before. This is the one in Guatemala. It involved our district, District 4250, 5520, Corpus Christi Rotary, Guatemala North Rotary Club, and then the World Fund. And notice what it was for. Is to get personal protective equipment to protect the medical and hospital workers working with COVID-19 patients. The link here, right here, this is really important because that's on the Rotary website and you can find a list of all the global grants that our district is involved in. And if you click on any one of them, you'll find out what they're like. It shows you exactly how they were put together. So it's really a good resource. Okay, now we come back to the original question. What option or options could we explore in order to address the need of the double bunk beds? Could that be a district or an international district grant? Would it be a global grant, a fundraising project? What do y'all think? Any ideas?
It could be all 3, depending on the budget size and how much in debt that you want to serve, whether it's short term, long term.
Right.
However you want to build it, whatever method you want to do to it.
Okay. Depends on how elaborate you want to get. I mean, on a very simple level, it could be either a district or an international district grant. It could be a fundraising project if the club wanted to do that. If you wanted to work across countries and use that as a spin-off to do something more elaborate that builds on what that shelter has, conceivably it could lead into a very elaborate global grant as well. Because now you're working into getting maybe more sophisticated development of the shelter, maybe that shelter and others, so it could actually grow. So those are just ways of thinking about an issue like this.
Juan?
Yeah.
In regards to your case study here,
yeah.
If a club were to say $200 a bed, we need 5 beds, so it's $1,000. They certainly can do that on their own. But if the magnitude of that you wanted to leverage for district designated funds, it's a 1-for-1 match. So
Yes.
effectively, if we get down to the point where we need $500 for the beds themselves, now we spend $500 and we have $500 to give to the food bank. So leveraging the idea of the district grants is really a good idea. And
Absolutely.
utilizing and being efficient and being good stewards is what we're about.
Right. Good point. Okay, another area that we wanted to talk about is, and this was mentioned earlier, is looking at Rotary Showcase. This is another excellent source of information for projects. And you'll see the website up there, how to get there. Here you'll find descriptions of completed projects, projects that are seeking a global grant partner, those that have been developed that are cost-based. For example, you might find projects that address one area, an area of focus. You can add a project like your own. If you have an idea about what you would like to do and you want to put it up there and you invite people to contact you because you're looking for partners, you can do that as well. Or you can browse through proposed projects that are just getting started. Now, the other new development that we did not have before, we have now, is on our own Rotary website, we have what is called the Foundation Corner. If you go to the webpage, where the district webpage, you'll see it. It's already got some material in there about what the District Rotary Foundation team is doing. But we're going to add to it. It's got some ideas there on what people can do with polio already, but we're going to add to it. And that'll be another resource, excellent resource of information. If you'll notice, if you'll also check your email and the district website, Nancy Paulson has sent out some information on what clubs can do to tell her a story, a Rotary story about a project that you might be doing. If you'll write that up, we can include that as an initiative to give people ideas about how they may want to take that idea and develop it into a grant, perhaps. So that's another excellent resource that you might want to look at. These are samples of small projects that several clubs have done. These are done with the $500 COVID grant that we gave out last year. For example, Corpus Christi Evening, they use their $500 to donate to the food bank in Nueces County. Mission Rotary gave their $500 to El Milagro Clinic to provide personal protective equipment to their staff. Laredo Gateway Rotary donated their $500 to Laredo College, student station there. They have like a little one-stop shop where they provide food items and toiletries and other items for students, especially those that have lost their jobs. And a lot of these kids have lost their jobs because the business shut down due to COVID-19. This is a new initiative that we have going on right now. This is a district matching grant that the district funds, we're using district funds along with a match from International Bank of Commerce. And I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Ellison, because Ellison is the one that actually got us underway. So thank you, Ellison, and thank you, IBC, for getting us up and running.
Hey, Juan, I'm glad you brought this up, but I just want to point out that we still have funds available in this fund. Yes. You may be going to say that, but yes. You know, this is a great deal, and if there's clubs out there that want to do some of these small projects, we still have money available to help with that.
Right, the club just contributes $500, and then if they we'll match the $500. So for $1,000, you can get a lot of things done with that. We've got, I think, 6 or 7 clubs that have already submitted their grant proposals. They've been approved, but we still have money left over. And so you'll see like Port Isabel, they're contributing money to the food banks. San Benito Rotary is having a drive-through Halloween party. That's interesting. They're working with the city in order to provide kids that have been indoors because they can't get out. They're trying to do something to help the mental health of these children. And then Rotary Club of Corpus Christi did something really important as well by working with the Driscoll Children's Hospital and the preparing backpacks with school supplies, but also information to help prevent child abuse. And this is key because they're finding that some of the kids in their area are experiencing abusive situations due to stress brought on by COVID-19, parents being unemployed, things like that, just creating a lot of stress in the home. So these are just examples of the kinds of projects that people are already doing. Another source of information for projects is the virtual International Project Fair. It's coming up on the 24th of October through the 7th. And here, any club that wants to can participate. You're going to have a chance to interact with clubs from other countries, showcase your projects that you've already done, and also to present ideas about projects that you may want to undertake. It's a great way to establish friendships and for small and or new Rotary clubs to get involved in international projects, to learn more about district and global grants and how to secure funding to support these projects. And obviously very important how to leverage your funds.
Juan, excuse me, interrupting. I have a question about that. I've seen the advertisement for this, and I had some inquiries about this, and I didn't see how you go about posting the information to become involved as a participant with a potential project looking for sponsorships. Has that been developed yet?
My understanding is, and I don't know if Enrique is on with us, but my understanding is that number one, they've renamed it. It is an international project fair, but the actual title now is World Project Fair. And it's, I believe Betsy from Brownsville Sunrise just posted the website link. And my understanding is on that website is information as to how to submit projects.
Okay.
It's worldprojectfair.org.
Maybe we could put that link also on our district website.
Yeah, I would agree.
Easier to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good.
And we're getting interest, just so y'all know, we are getting interest literally from all over the world on this World Project Fair. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
And Allison, it sounds like Betsy's here. Did you have something, Betsy?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Yes, we will have an amazing event. Now the name of the event changed because many districts from around the world are now involved in this event, because we discovered that in other countries, for example, in Russia and Canada and other clubs from Europe, they are interested to invest in good projects that we have in this side of the world. So this is a great opportunity to submit projects and to find a partner to get funds for a project that maybe you need for any project that you have maybe in your area or in another part in Latin America. So you can, Justin, he posts the web page right now in the chat. And next week, I will send information to all of you at your emails. And you can ask more questions to Brownsville Sunrise, to Enrique Medellin, who is making an amazing job, and to create this special web for this event. And you can submit your project there. You can follow the structures. It's very easy. You can submit a video or a presentation in PowerPoint. So if you have questions or you need help to make a presentation, just let me know. We are here to help you, because we would like that you can get that funds for your projects. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That really helps. Here's a little description of what it is that you need to do. If anybody's interested in submitting a project, this is what I was able to find about what it takes to submit a project. You indicate the area of focus that you want the project to zero in on, say where it's going to take place, the number of individuals that will benefit from the project, who are the partners, who is the host, who is the international partner, indicate your project budget, the amount of funds from the host club that are expected, and the international partner, the amount of time that's going to be needed to complete the project, the total number of funds that are needed to complete the project, the type of grant that you're requesting, could be a district or a global grant, who's in charge of the project, and then any documentation that will be used, like photos, videos, or other types of media that are going to be used. At this point, I want to stop and I'm going to turn over the presentation to Mike, because he's going to share with us some information about fundraising that can be used to complement the projects, and also consideration to some ideas that can be considered to keep the project going after you started it. So Mike, let me turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Juan. Well, fundraising has always been something that's been fun for me. I always like doing that part of the deal. But, you know, fundraising can be a challenge because not everybody is into selling, and sometimes we got to get creative on the different projects. So, you know, fundraising is a challenge. We've got to do something to get people to be willing to donate some money to whatever our cause. We need to make sure the cause is, excuse me, something that they're willing to get behind. So it does require effort. Now, with current restrictions that we have with COVID, it's eliminated a lot of the successful and very financially lucrative fundraising efforts, such as Paul Harris dinners, crawfish boils, shrimp boils, Cajun Fest, Service Above Self. So a lot of those event-based fundraisers have really been kind of put on the sidelines due to COVID-19 restrictions. So we've got to think of some alternatives, and we've got to start getting a little bit more creative since we can't do some of those things. Now, some of the ideas that have been put forth, these I'm gonna give full disclosure. These are not my ideas. Juan shared a list with me, and I think these are great. So you could do a hike for a cause, you know, virtual painting lessons. So, you know, using Zoom as a platform to do a fundraiser, you know, do a 10,000 step challenge. That's really good, especially right now where we're all kind of locked up and don't have anywhere where to go. It's easy to become a couch potato, and this is a good way to promote health. Poker runs, these can be motorcycles, cars, things like that, which is kind of similar with the vehicle rally, virtual cooking or baking classes, online auctions. That's actually one of the things that our club has done. We've done a few, an online auction to raise funds for our excuse me, just sorry about that. Number 6 and number 7 were needing some immediate assistance. So we also have, you know, walkathons and bikeathons. I know some of the clubs have done these on a virtual basis. Basically, people go walk and they submit their times and they get to participate. Golf tournaments, drive-in movies. One of the events that one of Laredo College is doing is they're doing a drive-in play, and I think it's actually even a musical. So that's, you know, you know, getting some of these creative ideas are important. Running of the flags, virtual scavenger hunts, a reverse parade, and then Aloha Rotarian. You know, there's lots of little descriptions on what these are. This is not a final answer to what social distancing fundraising looks like, but these are just things to try to spark some creativity in your mind as to how can we change some of the things that we're doing. Some of the things that we're doing that yes.
I just wanted to, if I might just add something here. I want to thank Art, because Art was kind enough to share these many of these ideas with us that are participating in Zoom meetings with him.
Let me help you.
We wanted to, you know, we wanted to share that with people in the district as well. But we got him from California. I think some.
Go ahead, mommy, help you.
Right, Art? In the West Coast, anyway.
Yeah, we've been trying around the zone. I'm involved with 23 districts from Brownsville to Canada and right through the middle part of the United States. And so we've been trying to accumulate these ideas of what's going on elsewhere. We have more description of these. If something sounds like we can get more information about, you know, kind of what they were doing or what they're planning to do, and share these ideas. And if we have some new ones that are not on this list, I'd like to get them and share them back, because it's a collaborative effort to come up with ideas. Obviously, we can still do outside activities if we do them carefully. A lot of the inside activities, probably we're still involved with trying to do something electronically. But we want to actually, first of all, obviously want to tell people why we want to raise the money, but then they come up with, as we've always done before, come up with a fun way to meet the need and be creative, because some of the things that we did, like the dinners and so forth right now are kind of complicated. So we need to come up with some other ideas. So think about safe outdoor activities and think about creative ways to do something electronically.
Okay, thank you, Art. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. All right, so one of the important things to remember is don't abuse your members when fundraising. Sometimes short-term fundraising, reaching out to our members is usually a good way to fund some short-term needs or, pass the hat type of things. But it's not sustainable long-term. Eventually, if you keep, taxing your own members, they're going to get tired, and it may put them they may be also in a financial strain with COVID and the economic repercussions of that. So we need to be mindful of that. It's hard to raise large sums from just your club members, and a lot of times our clubs are may not be huge clubs. We may not be able to raise lots of money from just our own members. Also, ticket selling, that sometimes is difficult to do right now because we can't really socialize. We can't go out and press the flesh and make people feel guilty and buy the tickets that we're putting in front of them as we're conducting our regular business. So it's important to not burn out our members during this time. Another key takeaway is you need to set up committees for these fundraisers. One person shouldn't be responsible for all the fundraising, especially not for all of the fundraising projects. Unfortunately, sometimes our presidents, want to be heroes and they want to take charge of everything. It's important to delegate and make sure that you have one person in charge of each fundraising project and have a team so that you can spread the load. And the projects can be done amongst more members. Plus, it's a way to engage your entire club, and that's especially important in this time period where meeting in person is not really an option. So sometimes there's limited ways of staying connected. So when you engage other club members in these committees, it helps keep them engaged. And this is a great place to put a new member, put them into one of these fundraising committees. And also, you don't want the same committee doing every single fundraising project because they're going to get burned out. And every time I remember there have been times when people didn't want to see me coming down through their doorway because they're like, okay, now he's going to ask me for money for these tickets, for popcorn for the Boy Scouts, for this other thing for Rotary. So you got to be careful that you kind of spread that around so you don't wind up getting branded as somebody who's always doing a shakedown for money. And lastly, especially for the bigger fundraisers, it's important that you have a project champion. So, what's a project champion? So it's somebody who really passionately gets behind the idea for this fundraiser. And sometimes these fundraisers can be interesting and fun. And I'll talk a little bit more about my motorcycle ride. But that's an example. If you're able to be successful at it, you're not going to be able to keep it going if you don't have a champion to keep it on course. So what do we need to do to adjust during this time period with COVID-19? So we can still do some things. We need to make sure we've got social distancing in place. Some things, like Art mentioned, is can we do it outside? You know, can we do it outside? Can people be wearing masks? Is it something that you can still have the ability to get for people to get the benefit that they're you know, paying for by doing that outside? Can we do a virtual event? Can we do it over Zoom, or there may be some other you know, platforms that we could use? We got to keep in mind that it may require more production cost. I'm part of another group, a consulting group, in which we have quarterly meetings. And so these meetings now have gone to live and virtual. And so the production costs are a lot higher, because you've got to have more video, more pre-recorded actions and things of that nature. So sometimes you've got to kind of think it through. And will the event still make a profit? Will we still raise funds over the cost? So it's going to require a little more analysis in trying to adjust our prior fundraising activities to be able to still raise funds in the current time period.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
We have a question in the chat about, other than COVID type safety restrictions, are there other restrictions on fundraising that would apply to Rotary fundraisers?
There probably are. There are some state restrictions on what kind of on gambling. So you know, doing certain activities that may be restricted. And there may be some fundraising guidelines that Rotary also provides. I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head what some of those are, but yes, there are other restrictions that we have to make sure we abide by. Plus, we also have to remember, you know, whatever fundraising activity we do, it's representing Rotary. And so we don't want to do something that could be offensive or you know, be out of line with the philosophy of Rotary International. So things of that nature could come into play. So let me give you guys a case study. So let me talk about one of my favorite projects, Rotary Polio Moto. It's a motorcycle fundraising and awareness event. So this is usually a good way to start a fundraiser. If you don't know it's going to raise funds, is to make it an awareness event, because then you automatically are successful if other people find out about it. So we started this event back in 2017, and we did a ride around the district. It was about 800 miles. We had 13 different stops throughout the district over 2 days. We had a lot of participation from different Rotary clubs throughout the district, and all the funds raised went to Polio Plus. So when I started this event, I believe it was Debbie High's year. And I said, hey, Debbie, what do you think of doing this as a fundraiser and a awareness event, with the concentration on the awareness, and maybe we'll make a little money off of it. I was hoping we'd raise $5,000, and we wound up raising 10. That first year we had 7 riders, and last year we had about 54. Obviously this year we're going to have a smaller number, just because of the certain conditions and changes that have had to take place. But we've already raised a considerable amount of money towards our goal. This year, you know, March 2020, we're scheduled for, I believe it's the 20th and 21st, or 21st and 22nd. But everybody knows what happened then. Pretty much the whole state shut down, and we had to pull the plug. So we said, well, we're not going to cancel, but we're going to postpone. And so now things are doing better. So we're planning to do the ride October 24th and 25th. I invite you all to participate. We'll be traveling throughout the district, and I'll just shoot off our stops real quick. We'll be hitting Rio Grande City, Pharr, Harlingen, Brownsville, Kingsville, and Corpus Christi, Rockport, Port Lavaca, Victoria, Alice, Freer, and then everybody can go home. And I think we've added a couple of other stops that that I don't have my notes here in front of me, but those are two new stops that we're going for fundraising and awareness. So that's the event that we've done. And some of the things that we've changed were the stops are going to have a more limited number of people, and you know, we're going to make sure the participants understand we need to be social distance. Everybody's got to wear masks. The meal stops will all be done outside, open air. On a motorcycle ride, it's very easy to keep your social distance, because if you get too close, you're going to create an accident. So the social distancing is kind of taking care of itself. Plus, you know, when you've got a full face helmet, it kind of provides the whole, you know, mask type of thing. And so we're expecting to raise about the same amount this year. We've already turned in some monies that we turned in before March. And so we have gotten a little bit more money, and also at each stop, we usually collect additional funds. So those are kind of the things that we're going to be doing is, you know, adding a little more social distance, be more conscientious, and just, we don't mind the number of people that show up to meet us. We just need to make sure we're able to spread out. And most of the stops we've adjusted so that we're in bigger parking lots so that people can actually spread out more. So those are some of the changes that we've made to this particular event. All right, so to summarize, you can still do fundraisers. You know, we need to focus on, can we do it with social distancing? Can these events work wearing masks? Can we convert these to virtual events? Can we go online? Can we come up with creative ways to address these issues? Also, it's a great opportunity to use our creativity to explore new possibilities with the current constraints. So it's important to go ahead and let's accept where we're at and see how can we do something new. Don't be afraid to come up with a new idea. We don't always have to do the same thing over and over again. Yeah, we can do the same thing when that works, but if times change and we can't do those same things, let's be open to hearing new possibilities. And like I said, one of the hints is started as an awareness campaign that could raise a little bit of money. That way you're automatically successful and you can build on your success for the coming year.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Back to Juan.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, one of the things that I wanted to, both Mike and I wanted to do is thank Nancy and Dana for having conducted a survey of our district Rotarians to find out what they were interested in doing, what they were interested in learning more about in terms of potential projects and causes that they might want to pursue. They did that, and Nancy was kind enough to send me the results. Here they are, in order of a degree of importance that our Rotarians responded. Most important was to do some kinds of projects that involved food banks, followed by others, projects involving students in schools, COVID-19, mental health, medical needs, sponsoring projects, local disaster, membership, and showcase. Now, each one of these can stand on its own. However, with a little bit of thinking, you can see how you could make relationships across some of those. For example, COVID-19 and mental health, COVID-19 and medical needs. So it's easy. If you do a little bit of thinking, you can combine those if you wanted to. And I'm saying that because that combination can lead you to identify potential projects. Now, something else that we did that is seen to help is that we're using a set of questioning strategies. And we're relating these questioning strategies to each of these categories to help us identify potential projects that we might want to undertake. For example, let's just use a food bank illustration. Who is in need of food? What degree of need exists? How much food do they need? Why do they need it? Are they getting help from somebody else and they're still in need? Why is it that why is it that the need exists? Why do these people need the help? Where does it exist? Is it in your community or somewhere close by? How do you address the need? What strategies are you going to come up with in order to do it? What resources will you need? And then by when do you need to have the project finished? If there's a timeline for you to submit the project, when is that? And when is it time for you to implement it? And when do you have time? When should you finish it? So we've used these questioning strategies with all of these, and they seem to work. So if you need help and you're thinking about something like that for a potential project, this is one way that you might find that it can help you. Okay, hopefully these are some of the key takeaways from our presentation this morning, what we've tried to really emphasize. And I think what we're trying to do is emphasize as Rotarians, we're definitely committed to serving others. And we do that by being active and empathetic listeners, careful observers, servant leaders, keeping an open mind, working successfully with others, certainly doing critical thinking and problem solving, and continuing to be inventive, entrepreneurial, and resilient. We don't give up. If first we don't succeed, we try something else. The desired outcomes are the following. Hopefully this will help us to understand the needs of others, not only their needs, but how they feel about having that situation that they're in. That's important. Identifying possible alternatives and ways to address the need. Effectively working with others to plan projects and then see them to fruition in order to address the need. Doing so will help us influence and motivate others to become actively engaged in these projects, and then eventually experience the satisfaction that we get when we help someone else in our communities and beyond. Together, doing all of this, I think we can see how contributions to the Rotary Foundation's annual fund, for example, can help not only our district, but districts in other parts of the world complete their projects. So that's pretty much it. I think Nancy wanted to, I don't know